This video is brought to you by the censorship-hating crew over at Virtual Shield VPN. If you want to hide your activity and location from your internet service provider, hackers, and government spies, Set It and Forget It Virtual Shield has you covered. If you think you have the right to remain private, click the link below and get your free trial plus 20% off with my code. If you find this video beneficial and informative, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and subscribe to the channel.
When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. If you guys enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and share it with everybody you know.
Do you think that if the Broward Sheriff's Office had done things differently, this shooting might not have happened?
Listen, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, O.J. Simpson would still be in the record books.
I don't know what that means. There's 17 dead people, and there's a whole long list of things your department could have done differently. Are you really not taking any responsibility for the multiple red flags that were brought to the attention of the Broward Sheriff's Office about this shooter before the incident, whether it was people near him, close to him, calling the police on him?
Jake, I could only take responsibility for what I knew about. I exercised my due diligence. I've given amazing leadership to this agency.
Amazing leadership?
Yes, Jake.
All our lives, especially during our younger years, we've been lied to. We heard and believed that the police are here to protect us. From the very first kindergarten class visit of Officer Friendly to the very last time we saw a police car, most of which have to protect and serve emblazoned on their doors, we were encouraged to give ourselves over to police protection. But it hasn't always been that way. Before the mid-1800s, American and British citizens, even in large cities, were expected to protect themselves and each other. They were even legally required to pursue and attempt to apprehend criminals. The notion of a police force in those days was abhorrent in England and in America, where they commonly viewed it as a form of the dreaded standing army. England's first professional police force in London was not instituted until 1829. The idea of professional policing was taken up by Sir Robert Peel when he became the Home Secretary in 1822. Peel's Metropolitan Police Act of 1829 established a full-time, professional, and centrally organized police force for the Greater London area known as the Metropolitan Police. The first such forces in America followed in New York, Boston, and Philadelphia during the period between 1838 and 1845. They were established only to augment citizen self-protection. It was never intended that they act affirmatively prior to or during criminal activity or violence against individual citizens. Their duty was to protect society as a whole by deterrence, i.e., by systematically patrolling, detecting, and apprehending criminals after the occurrence of crimes. There was no thought of police displacing the citizen's right of self-protection, nor could they, even if they were intended. Today, most people in America falsely believe that law enforcers are here to protect us and keep us safe. I mean, it says it right there on their taxpayer-funded vehicles. So it's gotta be true, right? Professor Don B. Cates Jr., eminent civil rights lawyer and criminologist, stated back in 1990, even if all 500,000 American police officers were assigned to patrol, they could not protect 240 million citizens from upwards of 10 million criminals who enjoy the luxury of deciding when and where to strike. But we have nothing like 500,000 patrol officers. To determine how many police are actually available for any one shift, we must divide the 500,000 by 4, 3 shifts per day, plus officers who have days off, are on sick leave, etc. The resulting number must be cut in half to account for officers assigned to investigations, juvenile, records, laboratory, traffic, etc., rather than patrol. Today, with over 900,000 officers and over 320 million non-uniformed citizens in the U.S., it's unreasonable and just flat out dumb to ever believe that police have the ability to stop most crimes, violent or otherwise. And rather than being a meaningless cliche, the phrase, "when seconds count, police are only minutes away," is just a reality. It is therefore a fact of common sense and of practical necessity that individuals have to be responsible for their own personal safety and that of their loved ones. Police protection must be recognized for what it is: only an auxiliary general deterrent that you can never, and I mean never, depend on. You want to make it out of a violent situation alive? You want to protect your family in the most powerful way possible? Then don't even think about calling 911. It's not an option. The most effective call you can make is 223 or 357 or some other caliber. The only time sane people who have the ability to govern themselves call 911 in a violent situation is after the event, to have a dispatcher send over a couple body bags, a meat wagon, and a couple people with mops to clean up the mess. Most people are so ill-informed, they don't even know that police are not even legally obligated to protect you and your family. And because the police have no general duty to protect individuals, judicial remedies are not available for their failure to protect. In other words, if somebody's injured because they expected but did not receive police protection, they cannot recover damages by suing, except in very special cases. Despite a long history of such failed attempts, many people persist in believing the police are obligated to protect them and attempt to recover damages when no protection was forthcoming, and are emotionally demoralized when the recovery fails. Legal annals abound with such cases. Warren versus District of Columbia is one of the leading cases of this type. Two women were upstairs in a townhouse when they heard their roommate, a third woman, being attacked downstairs by intruders. They phoned the police several times and were assured that officers were on the way. After about 30 minutes, when their roommate's screams had stopped, they assumed the police had finally arrived. When the two women went downstairs, they saw, in fact, that the police never came. But the intruders were still there. As the Warren court graphically states in the opinion, quote, "For the next 14 hours, the women were held captive, raped, robbed, beaten, forced to commit sexual acts upon each other, and made to submit to the sexual demands of their attackers," end quote. What do you think the odds are that at least one of those women had prayed she had a firearm? The three women sued the District of Columbia for failing to protect them, but DC's highest court exonerated the district and its police, saying that it is a, quote, "fundamental principle of American law that a government and its agents are under no general duty to provide public services such as police protection to any individual citizen." There are many similar cases with results to the same effect. The seminal case establishing the general rule that police have no duty under federal law to protect citizens is DeShaney versus Winnebago County Department of Social Services. Frequently, these cases are based on an alleged special relationship between the injured party and the police. In DeShaney, the injured party was a boy who was beaten and permanently injured by his father. He claimed a special relationship existed because local officials knew he was being abused. Indeed, they had, quote, "specifically proclaimed by word and deed their intention to protect him against that danger." But they failed to remove him from his father's custody. The court in DeShaney held that no duty arose because of a special relationship, concluding that constitutional duties of care and protection only exist as to certain individuals, such as incarcerated prisoners, involuntarily committed mental patients, and others restrained against their will and therefore unable to protect themselves. The court ruled, quote, "the affirmative duty to protect arises not from the state's knowledge of the individual's predicament or from its expressions of intent to help him, but the limitation which it has imposed on his freedom to act on his own behalf," end quote. In other words, you are not guaranteed protection by police unless you are incarcerated or a person who is taken in involuntarily for a mental evaluation. Basically, if you don't have the freedom to defend yourself because you're locked up in one of their facilities, they'll protect you. If you're not locked up, you're on your own. If you're free, they have no obligation to ensure your safety. And it is against this backdrop that the same government who says they have no obligation to protect you from criminals is the same government who wants to make it illegal for you to carry a firearm to protect yourself if you're between the ages of 18 and 21. This same government who says they have no obligation to protect you is the same government who consistently wants to take your means of protection away.
So when tragedy hits, are you gonna ball up in a corner like a pansy-ass little wimp and expect the government to come in and save your ass? Or are you gonna assume personal responsibility and defend yourself and your family? Really, the choice is yours.
Before you go, check out one of the most in-your-face, hard-hitting, conversation-starting shirt stores on the planet. By wearing one of these shirts, hoodies, or cutoffs, and without saying a word, you can let people know that fast food is killing them with the McDet's Eat Fast, Die Young shirt or Pepsi Live for Now. Inform the sleeping masses that fluoride is dumbing them down, that Google is a gulag-style censorship machine, that the Department of Homeland Security is merely security theater, that the NSA makes your private life their business, that the Grim Reaper supports everyone's troops, that we need to legalize freedom, that in life there are no excuses, that CNN is a communist news network, voting is the suggestion box of slaves, that 9/11 was a lie and that all official stories should be questioned, and let people know we're in the middle of a full-blown sheep-volution. Taxation is theft, the IRS is an immoral robbery service, cops like protecting and serving the crap out of you, and that this is not a gun-free zone, and gun-free zones are the most dangerous places on the planet. Your purchase supports more content on my demonetized, heavily censored, and of course, advertiser-unfriendly channel. As of the recording of this video, I have over 64 designs, and I'm adding new ones every week, so check back often. Thanks for watching my content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.